let's get started.
I only heard half of Ian's question. I missed that.
I just said that I couldn't remember where we were with the Oakwood report update. I know your email said that the next step is for the community to take it to the full commission, but
yes. So I remember correctly, there was an email sent out maybe at the end of April by Tanya that included the link to the text, and we'll send that to you, Susan and Harold. And I guess if you had any corrections, notes, thoughts on what had been prepared, that's a pretty final draft. But if you have any concerns, let us know. And if you feel it's good to move forward, you'll take it to the larger commission to accept it and make that the official Oakwood report.
okay. I think it's been pretty thoroughly looked at this point.
I did actually realize it was on Monday that there was one property in the Oakwood South Amendment. I think it's 105 South Bloodworth. I couldn't, in searching for it, I didn't see it included, and it should have been. So I'm not sure how we move forward in that situation. I haven't really gotten a chance to talk to Tanya about it, but to that site in the mid-1990s.
You say it was 105 South?
Bloodworth.
Have the new commission members seen this update report?
They have not. It's something I need to send to them.
Okay. Are we forward with the agenda at this point, or are we waiting for Tanya?
No, I think we can move forward.
Okay. The Bayland Report, again, I think that we've gone over it pretty thoroughly.
We received after we met last and have not got as a group.
Okay.
I remember correctly.
Can you say that last part again? I didn't quite get you.
That was a report that we received after we last met. It was sent by Tanya in an email, and we have not yet discussed it.
I thought we had, but okay. Maybe I just read it.
Yeah, I remember us discussing as well for some reason, but that might have been some other related document.
Maybe it was one of Mary Hanbury's drafts that we discussed.
Mm.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. For our new commission members, we have a potential landmark list that Colette can send you. I'm assuming you haven't sent that to them yet. And it's basically a spreadsheet of all the properties in Raleigh that we think could be eligible for landmark designation. It needs some work at this point. I've been working on it a little bit, but it needs some fleshing out. And I would welcome any help that you can offer with that.
What's involved in fleshing out? How do we? I'm glad to help. I have.
It has various columns in it, and certain properties need either a description or a build date or things like that.
Okay.
Mostly descriptions, if I recall correctly, but yeah.
So does that require a visit, like a site visit, or you can just?
I don't think it requires it. It might be a good idea, but I don't think it requires it now.
Well, it helps me get to know Raleigh, so I'm
Absolutely.
I'm glad to go drive around and look at stuff. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm happy to help with that as well. If you send over a chunk of it or a piece of it that needs going over still. Also had someone came to me with I'm not sure if it's on the current list. I kind of doubt it would be, but a property that might be eligible in the Fox Hollow neighborhood in South Raleigh, 2605 Adcox Place. It's a home owned by Dr. Reverend Portia Rochelle, who she was the president of the Raleigh Apex chapter of the NAACP for 10 years, and she's a community leader. She ran at large for city council in 2019, last year, and she was a founding homeowner in the neighborhood, and her home is in original condition. She's lived in Fuquay. She was born in Fuquay, lived in Raleigh for almost 50 years, I think. And I think it could be a good option. And she seems like someone who would, I haven't reached out to her, but I'm good friends with her neighbors. And they said that she seems like she might be interested in designation.
That's great.
Yeah, and I can send over her the address and email afterwards if we decide we want to add it, but I think she'd be a good candidate.
Okay.
And
Colette,
oh, sorry, go ahead.
Do you know the status of the letter?
So I have the letter. I know that we talked about it in March after we were all sent home. But I haven't looked at it since I last looked at it. I'll have to get back into that.
Okay. For those that don't know, we drafted a letter to send to potential landmark property owners on the list. Not everyone, of course, but a selected number of owners on the potential landmarks list, to send them a letter to say that say or remind them that we are interested in landmarking their property if they are interested.
Ian, to piggyback off of Katie, I actually, along with my haircut last night, have intel on Sam and Bill's, which is the house that sits next to the PR. And I know that the business owners who are tenants are interested in landmarking. At least I spoke with their daughter who also works there, and that's the impression that I got. I believe that they are owned by the same owner that owns the PR. So we've been in contact with them, I know, previously. I offered that I would share that information here since they are a similar owner, not necessarily the same cultural significance perhaps for the city as the PR, but certainly same streetscape. And my iMaps is still down for some reason. I think I need to restart. So I haven't been able to, and this was just last night, but I haven't been able to check eligibility requirements, but they told me it was over 50 years old at least.
It's definitely over 50 years old.
Yeah.
I don't know about significance of beyond it being old and being like one of the last old houses on that portion of Oberlin, but
Right.
I know we have a picture of it in the archives of, but back in, I think, the 40s, when that stretch of Oberlin was residential before the PR was built. But I don't know of any significant of it, having any significance beyond it being old.
That's all I know as well. So just bringing it forward so we're aware.
Yeah. I guess we can move on to updates on landmark applications. Hillcrest Cemetery, McAdams House. I know McAdams House we just did that one. So do you have any updates for us, Colette?
So for McAdams House, we did send that to Christy Brantley, the State Historic Preservation Office. They are reviewing that and will be sending us their comments. So that is, once we receive that back, we'll be able to move forward.
Okay. Hillcrest, do we have any updates on that?
So Hillcrest, Colette, correct me if I'm wrong, that is what Tanya attended City Council for last night. So there is an update for it. I don't know what that is. I'm assuming it has now been voted on by City Council.
Okay.
Fingers crossed, assuming that's a good outcome.
I don't see why it wouldn't be. Yeah. Do the new commission members have any questions for me or staff?
I don't. I'm just listening. I think it's a lot to learn. So I will look at the compilation you sent or Aaron sent and see if I can help you and holler if I can do anything else, because this is so interesting to me. I mean, I'm just learning. So, great. I mean, I wouldn't mind knowing if you guys want to share what about each of you. Like, because I know we were in a large group and we tried to do that, but if we're going to work as a committee, Caleb, I know, but I don't really know Harold. I mean, I don't know if you want to do this, but we're
sure. Yeah, we can do that. I work for the State Archives of North Carolina. I'm a sort of an amateur Raleigh historian. That's why I'm here, I guess. I guess that's about it. I'm a photographer, archivist, Raleigh historian. Anyone else?
I would just add, if you need to know about a building, talk to Ian.
Yeah, sounds like it.
If he doesn't know directly what you need, he can tell you where to go to get it.
Wow.
Yeah, and Susan, I was on the RHDC for 2 years, but my term ended, I can't remember, a year or two ago, and I just stayed on as a civilian member of this committee. So they're doing that now, perhaps as a way to just keep us involved, you know.
Yeah. Well, and pass on the information. You know, Caleb, you have lots of information.
Yeah.
It's impressive to me. There's a newbie to Raleigh. I've lived in here, so I'm still learning about the city and about all the things that offer.
And I'm Nicole Goolsby. I am also a civilian member of this committee. I am a general contractor and work primarily on residential homes. Had served as chair of my local historic commission in the Lake Norman area. And Cornelius was involved in that for a number of years, so wanted to get more connected in Raleigh when I came over about almost 5 years ago now. And so I've been on this committee, I think, for at least 4 years now.
Okay, well, I'm Harold Millett, and born and raised in Raleigh, Southeast Raleigh in particular, and just have similar to Ian. I feel like I'm a historian without the history background. So just trying to figure out the process of how to document property and homes within the city. And yeah, I practice in an architecture firm here in Raleigh. So
Which one?
integrated design. It is off of Wade Avenue and Oberlin Road.
Okay.
Nice. Well, I'll go too. I'm Katie, and this is my second year of my first term on the RHDC. I'm very interested in local politics and municipal government processes, and pretty clued in that area. And then as well, as far as I can track back, matrilineally, my family's been here for like 8 or 9 generations in the Raleigh area. So, the history of Raleigh is very important to me and my family. My entire extended family still lives in the area. So, history and preservation is the Raleigh area is a big part of my identity and, my heritage. So, and then by day, I work in marketing for a financial consulting firm off of Wade Avenue, and and I do lots of other stuff as well, but not history related.
Well, a little bit about me. You're all much more. I moved here 4 years ago from Kinston. And I won't go into all the history why I was there, but I found North Carolina, which I moved to 8 years ago, an extraordinary state, and kind of fell into Raleigh by accident. And I've gotten amazingly involved in 4 short years. And also city politics. I think it's really interesting, but I think state politics are really interesting. And I love history because I think that's how we can go forward. So I joined the committee because I'm interested in understanding what created the moment we're in and how to preserve what's good about it and move forward.
Oh, and I guess I didn't say what my occupation is, but I'm an archaeologist with the Department of Transportation. So that's kind of how I got into this.
Well, it's great to have you, Susan and Harold. Hopefully we'll meet face to face at one point. I guess Tanya's not going to be able to come, maybe? Have you heard from her?
It doesn't
I
look
haven't heard
that
from
way.
her.
Yeah.
I hope she's okay.
Me too.
Virtual school.
Yeah, she's not feeling well earlier this week, but stepped up yesterday for city council. So maybe she's taking it easy again for this morning or school. There's a number of reasons. I'll just add, I'm not sure where we are on the agenda, Ian, but in terms of folks here being ready to do some sleuthing, we have a meeting coming up next week with planners in the Urban Design Center that are focused on the Dix Edge area study, which centers around Dorothea Dix Park and the surrounding area. And part of what they want from us is either pointing them to resources or just handing them information where we're able about the development of Western Boulevard, why it was put where it was put, when it was put there, if we can identify any decision-making processes. They're particularly interested in aerial photographs of what existed before the road went in. They're going to have a history portion incorporated into the Dix Edge report, and I think that they're focused more on exposing why we are where we are rather than just stating where we are and where we were. So that is potentially something that the research committee could dig into. And I think we have a separate committee potentially set up for Dix, so that might be a.
They've also added the construction of 40 to that list of interests.
Mm-hmm.
And just as a FYI, I'm also on the Historic Cemeteries Advisory Board, and one of our cemeteries is the one at Dorothea Dix. So we've recently taken that on as the city took over management of the Dix property. So maybe I can help with that.
You said that they're also, you broke up a little bit, so I didn't get all of it. You said that they were interested in the development of I40.
Yeah, we have an image provided to us by the planning team that basically outlines what the Dix Edge area study is, what the perimeter is. It's basically going to be Dix Park, the section east up to downtown. So I'm trying to think what all is in there. It's not, there's a little bit of Carolina Pines neighborhood in there, but for the most part, it's the old Mill Village following South Saunders up. And then Western Boulevard is the sort of the northern perimeter. Let me see if I can find that image and forward it or add it to the chat here.
Yeah. I think like Washington Elementary School is in there. And I've seen the map also, so I know the region you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, Washington is a landmark.
Oh yeah, yeah,
That's where I went to 6th grade.
yeah. My mom went to Washington Elementary School.
Well, can y'all send us whatever information you have on that Dix Edge study group? Sounds like some people have seen some stuff. I have not heard of that, so that would be helpful.
I found it. I'm just working on uploading it.
Also, did we, I may have asked this already, did we ever get minutes to the last meeting or an agenda for this one? Did I not see those, or we didn't?
We are on getting the committees back up and going, but it did surprise us a bit that it got here so quickly. Just made our plans for it. So with these virtual meetings, we will try to be much more on top of it for next month. In terms of sending you a meeting link and letting you know what the agenda will be.
Yeah, I talked to Tanya about the meeting I thought was happening last month, and she said that you guys were still trying to figure out like the best legal way to do this. I guess there's a lot of red tape you got to do since it's a public meeting.
Yeah, all of our committee meetings are technically public, which means that they should be accessible in some way. So we're still not 100% how we're doing that, but we want to have the recordings handy in case. Well, apparently I just deleted it. I'm going to send a follow-up email to the one that I sent out earlier in the meeting. So I should have it in just a minute.
Well, as I said earlier, I don't know if y'all heard me, but I did take notes at the March meeting. I'm be happy to read them out, or maybe someone else has them as well, has better ones than me, just to make sure that we cover everything we talked about.
Yeah, if you'd want to do that, Kel, that'd be great.
Okay, it was March 4th. One thing we talked about was where to put the plaque on the Valley Lewis Henderson house. Like physically, what would be a good place to put the plaque at that house. Susan, do you know Rex and Ray? They live on Elm and Oakwood, or yeah, Elm and Oakwood.
Yes.
That's the Valley Lewis Henderson house. Is their house. It got landmarked a couple of months ago, I think, and we're just trying to figure out where to put the plaque. I'm not sure if that's ever been done or what happened, but we talked about putting on the right side of the door or maybe on a concrete pedestal in the front yard. So another thing we talked about was where to put the plaque for the Oak Grove Cemetery on Ligon Road in Method. Saw some pictures, and we thought maybe we'd put it next to the existing signs that they have kind of in the front of the cemetery. And we talked about maybe we'd do a ceremony for the installation of that plaque for the Oak Grove Cemetery in Method. And the next thing we talked about was we were going to review the context report for the Leaf Bayland report. It was a report on Leaf Bayland for the McAdams house, which we just spoke of. So perhaps that's been done. And I guess Tanya was going to put a bunch of stuff together and we would vote on it the next month, which of course never happened. So the meeting never happened. But that was a report on the McAdams house, specifically about Leaf Bayland. And we reviewed a letter that the RHDC would send to potential landmark property owners. I think you guys spoke about that earlier in this meeting, maybe a sample letter. And if you guys remember, I proposed briefly developing a context for Raleigh's music scene, specifically the hardcore punk music scene in the early to late 1980s. I kind of had growing up here, I had brothers who were into that. One of them still is a lot. I think he'd be my chief informant if we ever did it, but certainly there are many existing people and landmarks from that very interesting and specific sort of Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill music scene. And some of those folks are probably the youngest ones involved with that are a little bit older than me, and one or two have recently passed away. So I guess you start feeling like you need to talk to them before everyone starts leaving us. And then also we reviewed the progress of the LGBTQ context. That's all I got for last meeting.
Do we have any updates on that, Colette? Has any work been done on that context?
So, yes, our consultant has done some research. We had hoped to have a public meeting in March, but then we have not been able to have any public meetings. I think in our last checkup on it, we decided that we'd probably have to move forward with a virtual meeting, even though that's not exactly the desired format to, start talking to members of the community. But it's likely that that's the next step.
Okay. Well, I don't have anything else. If there's anything anybody wants to say, then great. Hopefully next month will be a little bit more organized. We'll have a little bit more to talk about.
One thing, Ian,
Yeah.
I think we may not have spoke of this at the last meeting, but maybe a week or 2 or 3 after that, Tanya sent us the Leaf Violin context, like his biography or sort of a report about him as an architect and his impact in Raleigh. And I think that maybe others read it and commented on it via email. I can't remember, but honestly, I was just looking through it again, and it was pretty interesting to know if anything had happened with that.
Not as far as I know.
So I think the next step, if you're satisfied, is for you to accept it. I do not know if you have to take a vote, but I think it would, or if that just means it's complete, that it's a question. But if you don't,
it might be interesting for our new members to take a look at it.
Yeah, Aaron sent the link just a minute ago to catch them up. So the report is complete. I think that you accept it. I do not know if you take a vote, but that is done. And at the last meeting or the meeting before, Ian moved McAdams' designation forward. So that is that for the Bayland report. We'll add it to the website and make it available for others to read. But for Oakwood, I think that your next step is, as a committee, is to vote to accept it. I don't know if we want to look into the South Amendment just to make sure that that's complete. But then that will need to be voted on and accepted by the commission as a whole.
Why don't I'll look into the Bloodworth house.
Okay.
And maybe the new commission members can take a look at that report, and we can vote on it next month.
Okay.
That sound all right?
Absolutely.
Yep.
So are you gonna publish minutes for this? For this?
Normally.
Not normally. Okay, so I should take a note so that I can go look at the 105 and comment on it for you, Ian, or I'm sure other people will too.
I mean, you can if you like. I think that you and Harold should just take a look at the overall report and see if there's anything that stands out to you. Familiarize yourself with it before we vote on moving it forward.
Okay, no problem. But I live on Bloodworth, so I can easily look at 105 Bloodworth.
Absolutely. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, great.
Yeah, the Oakwood report is a very long report, so let's put out a day or two for that.
It's a fun read if you're into Oakwood history.
Yeah, I think Matthew Brown added a lot of. He was one of the principal authors or one of the first speakers, but he put a lot about almost every house in there. There's something, you know.
I think Matthew Brown spent upwards of a decade on his inventory, and his inventory was used as sort of a framework for this report. Do you know Matthew?
He lives in Oakwood, right? He's a amateur historian of sorts, specifically for Oakwood.
Yeah, I'm sure Susan knows him or knows of him.
Yeah, I have a committee on the local SPHOs.
Yeah.
And the list of Ian, you mentioned a list of like potential historic properties.
Yeah.
Will that be sent out as well?
I think that Katie sent that. Did you send that?
No, I just sent the one that I had mentioned earlier in the meeting, but I can also look through recent email and
I have the
find
most
that file.
thing, so I'll send it.
Okay.
Ian, you said you've made some changes.
Yes.
You would send me those. I'll combine it. before.
Okay. Sounds good. I don't have anything else.
In terms of minutes, or just when we get done with this, I think we automatically receive an email with access to the recording. Is that something that you all committee members would like to have? I'm not sure if it's internal for us or I could share it.
It doesn't make a difference to me.
It doesn't to me.
Okay, well, if you want it, let us know.
I just want to know what notes I need to take to remind myself of what I should be doing. So.
I know the feeling. I'm getting a little too comfortable being able to go watch the recording, honestly.
Yeah.
Does anybody have anything else?
No.
Okay. Well, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Have a good
See you
day.
next month.
Have a good day.
Okay.